He keeps me in check.
It's so unsoggy.
He
5,
keeps me in check.
4, pray.
Our place, where we can dream and share it. Our place, you'll find a friend to care it.
Oh, yes, indeed. We have so many friends who care. I am Louise Palanker, your lovely and captivating host, here with a panel of wise and wonderful teens who are friends who care. We have, let's see if I can remember. Let's see, I would know you from, we have Maddie, Kiamute, Ryan,
What up?
Montana. We have, Nico's on the bench because he was the last one in the room. So then we have Lauren, and she's a new kid, and Benji. And Benji, I don't know if, I can, blow the cover off of this conspiracy, but Benji and Maddie are brother and sister. Whoa. And
The government's been hiding
they
for
actually live in the same home. So odds are that they've talked to each other about tonight's proceedings beforehand, and so, there's been some conspiring. So we're going to open...
I thought you were going to say odds are they've talked to each other, and I was like, oh, really?
They actually have the same mother and the same father.
No.
Yeah, and I don't know what the odds would
What?
be that would happen, but
What?
here we are. Yup.
The odds that two people would have the same
So
mother and same father.
Benji's here because he's exhausted, and he's exhausted because he spent the summer biking across America. Benji, please explain. Yep.
Yeah, I did it with a program called Overland Summers. Basically what they do, they take a bunch of high school kids, and they take 2 kids from college, and then there's a whole bunch of trips they do. There's like service trips and biking trips and hiking trips. And the biking trips, one of them is that you bike from coast to coast, and I decided to do it.
So you started in what city and ended in what city, please?
I started in Charleston, South Carolina on the East Coast, and I finished in Santa Monica, California, where I live.
And what were some of the highlights or lowlights of the trip? Did you suffer any injuries?
I know one of the lowlights.
What was that?
Oklahoma.
Yes. Don't go to Oklahoma.
But the winds are sweeping across the plain.
Yeah, you're in the Great Plains, and there's headwinds, and they go like 15 miles an hour, and we didn't get to camp till like 9:30 at night.
Wow.
And their football players might hit
we
you.
ordered pizza and like ate three of them each or something like that. So, yeah, but it's still a great day. It was hard but fun.
Everything. See, this is Benji's personality. He's just like, yes, it's hard but fun.
Yeah, but like
So
we crushed it, and it
you
was
crushed
awesome.
it,
And
yeah.
it was an amazing adventure, and just being in the middle because you like look out and it's like as big as an ocean, but there's just dirt and nothingness. Like it's
in
impressive.
Oklahoma?
Yeah, in Oklahoma. It's like the amount of nothing that is in Oklahoma is sincerely impressive. Like we just stared at it and like, whoa, look at that.
It's like
just
one of the wonders of the world. Like, there is nothing here. How is
Yeah.
that possible?
Yeah, it's like an impossible amount of nothing. Like, how could someone not put something there? But
An impossible amount of nothing.
yeah,
If you are from Oklahoma and you can testify
Sorry.
that you are something in Oklahoma, please give us a call at 888-531-7171. We would love to hear
How
from
are
you.
they going to call if they're dirt?
yeah. There's no people. There's just dirt.
Well, I know that the wind comes right behind the rain in Oklahoma, and
I don't know
I
what
know
that
it because
means.
Shirley Jones has sung it to me, so it must be true. So they do have cities in Oklahoma, right? Matt, you could look it up on Google, right? They have
Oklahoma City.
I'm
what
not
they
sure
want.
Oklahoma really
Tulsa?
exists.
I think they just have, like, Chesapeake Arena and where they play basketball. Other than that, like, that's it. Like,
No, they have Leon and Cynthia. Leon and Cynthia are from Oklahoma. I know this because we met them on a cruise to Australia.
So they told you they were from Oklahoma.
They did.
and you just believe it?
it's
And
called
if I
no
tell,
man's
if I
land.
tell you I can fly, Wheezy, does that make it true?
Leon and Cynthia, please call the show. I know you guys are from Oklahoma and that you... Oh, Cousin Stanley. He lives in Miami, Oklahoma with Leon and Cynthia. I don't know if they know each other,
not
but we
true.
did
But
determine that
was
they're
he
from...
born there, though?
Miami, Oklahoma is a place.
Was he born there?
Cousin Stanley?
Yeah.
No, he's born here in California and chose to move to Oklahoma.
Maybe
Right,
two
because there's
he
space
was
there.
like, but he was like born and
Panhandle
raised
University.
here, right? So he was like created in California. So he's a thing, and then the thing moves over there. Like things don't happen over there, you know?
I don't know. That's a theory, Maddie, but I bet you before the end of the show, somebody from Oklahoma, Leon and Cynthia, will call
Wait, wouldn't
and
him
say-
showing up be something?
and say that they are in Oklahoma. Give us a call, Leon and Cynthia, 888-531-7171. We have we would love for you to follow us and or subscribe to us on YouTube. The YouTube name is Our Place Community, and everywhere else on the internet, from Instagram to Twitter to Facebook, we are Our Place Network. Please follow us and join us because we do have fun. And lately, Yulia has been posting really fun stuff on our Facebook page. It's fun stuff to read. It's fun, interesting things for teens and about teens, and it's about you probably if you are a teen. Yes, Maddie?
Should I tell them where I'm going before?
Oh
we
yeah,
start
no,
with
Maddie.
questions?
Well, let's save your exciting 2 Millers with exciting news back to back. It's just let people breathe.
Okay.
And get this, neither
But
one of
raise
them
your
is from
hand
Oklahoma.
before Thread Theater. Before Thread Theater, we do your new and exciting news, almost as exciting as New Kid, which is Lauren, who's over there. Ryan, please read the letter from ROAA123.
Since I was a young kid, I did whatever to make the person with me happy. Now I notice that with every other person, there is a new me. It's like I have different personality with each person I meet. To make them comfortable with me, my personality automatically changes to suit the other person I'm talking to. It's not that I don't have friends or anything, I just want the people to be happy with me. Now I'm wondering who I am. It's been a question, like I'm blocking my personality that I've forgotten myself. Oh, so I've been wondering who I am because I've been blocking myself. The question is, how am I going to find myself again?
All right, so upon first reading this, and actually it's because of this question I had in the back of my head, but Lauren and I were discussing this before the show about how it's pretty common, I would say grades 5 through 12 to kind of be a little bit different every year, and or to be different with every person that you're talking to, and it actually may mean that you're a very empathetic person. It doesn't mean that you're being phony. It just means that you're able to read the room and accommodate the person that you're speaking to and converse with them in a way that makes them feel comfortable. Hands are going up. Nico?
Yeah, definitely when you're in those changing stages from like middle school to early high school, it's when you're kind of try to change yourself a little bit from year to year. Like, even when I was in elementary school, I was never this talkative. Like, one year when I went to it's surprising, I know, but one year when I went to middle school, I just said, hey, why don't I just start talking more? And this hellspawn came to be. And in general, changing yourself for different social situations isn't really a bad thing, I think. I mean, you can't go up to your boss and say, dude, you want those files, man? Or you can't go up to your friends and be like, oh, I agree, we should definitely surf those waves, brother. Really, you kind of change yourself to fit your friends and stuff, and that doesn't mean you're a different person or anything. It just means that, well,
You're accommodating to the situation.
yeah.
Ryan?
Well, I think I agree with that, and I was going to say that it's okay sometimes to change not who you are, but how you are, and I think that's the important distinction.
Yeah.
So you should be conveying the same message, but in a different way. I'm generally always talking about sports, but how I talk sports with my dad is different than Jake. You know, my dad is the one who got me into sports. He knows as much about sports as me. So with him, we're talking very specifically. When I tell Jake something, it's...
This is a football.
Because this is a football, and the Bills try to play that. No, but no. So I mean, that's how. Or when I tell Jake about like an interview I got, I'm like, this good sporting squad guy said he'll talk to me, and I'm like, so I mean that's the difference. And so it's one thing to not be yourself, but another to not talk the same way, and the latter is okay. So it's cool to talk to people in different ways, but just don't change who you are. Montana.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Like, I think all of us adjust the way we speak to somebody depending on who it is. And what's important is that you can't just find yourself. You can't just, like, all of a sudden just, like, find yourself. It takes time. Most people well into their 20s to really find themselves. So just kind of give it some time, see what you like. And it's perfectly all right to, like, make accommodations for certain people, but don't let them dictate who you are, because ultimately you'll figure out who you are. And like if they ask you to do something you don't want, for like example, you don't have to be like, yeah, it's okay, we're friends. Just be like, no.
You don't compromise who you are. You can you can amend who you are and tailor who you are to suit the situation.
And it's just a different side of yourself.
But if somebody says, hey, let's smoke a bunch of weed and jump out of trees, you can be like, no, I don't want to do those two things in that order.
Why trees?
Kyo? Kyo?
Yeah, I'm basically repeating what everyone has said, and I want to bring up what you said initially, that when you're growing up, everyone is changing a lot. So you're not going to be the same person you were a year or two ago, most likely. And yeah, everyone's different with everyone. It's like you kind of, or the way I think about it is I have some core principles or things that I feel strongly about, and then it's just difficult. It's difficult to make sure that those aren't being swayed, things that you really care about, by someone else's presence. But you want to be like friendly with everyone and nice. So
yeah, and also it's okay to be doubtful about who exactly you are while you're growing up. If anyone has seen Freaks and Geeks, Lindsay's transformation from being a smart kid to being a freak or whatever is just so quintessential, like a beautiful depiction of that kind of transformation. It's not to say that she's going to be anything like either of those two people when she's fully grown, if she were an actual person, which she's not. Let me go to the phone call, Maddie. Hello. Hello, thanks for calling our place.
They're from Oklahoma.
Hello.
Are you from Oklahoma?
No.
Oh, dang it.
I thought you were because it was
Do
silent.
you or do you not believe that anything exists in Oklahoma? Benji didn't see anything there.
I've played soccer tournaments there, and I know there are teams.
But do you
there.
think they just kind of like set it up for you while you were there, and then once you left, they took it back down?
They think Oklahoma's like a movie set that they can, set up and tear down.
Yeah, but like only for when people are there. Like,
Only when people are there.
Yeah.
Right.
Every individual person who comes in, they cater the movie to.
then who's there to set it up?
Other people.
Hey, did you guys know that
The
Mrs.
government of Oklahoma.
that Jordan
the
has
government.
has a birthday coming up? Would anyone here like to sing to her?
Oh.
Or wish her a happy birthday?
I got this. Me and Nico.
You and Nico got this.
Let's harmonize
on this.
You want to go high and I'll
Boy
go
band.
low, or you go low and I'll go high? I'll go low.
Right.
One.
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jordan Chris Golfer. Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
Rockin'.
Thanks for calling in every week, Jordan.
That
I
was
couldn't-
lovely.
That was the greatest thing I've ever
Well,
heard.
thank
Nico.
you.
You should both just move your lips. So, Mrs. Chris Colfer, how old are you turning?
16.
Yay.
16.
Yay. Happy birthday. So you have big plans. You're not going to be with us next week, I was told by Matt.
I will, because I always call in.
You do. You
Let's
figure out
go.
a way.
Turn up.
She's called us from Mars. It's happened. So did you want to add
No.
to the personality kind of evolution discussion?
Yes.
Go, please.
So, kind of what everyone else is saying, and I'm pretty sure I do the exact same thing. And then there are times when I'm just like, I really don't know if I have my own personality, so I just take the Facebook personality quizzes.
Oh,
There we
that's
go.
who takes those. Okay.
Those are strangely effective
All
sometimes.
right, I have an interesting story. I'm a full-grown woman. And
What?
I was recently describing to one of my friends how one of my other friends talks. And I was doing a very good impression.
Like a Nico
of
level
hers.
impression? Or
Pardon?
not quite Nico level, though, like, right?
But I was doing an impression of how my friend talks because I like doing impressions of people I love. And then I called her, and he overheard the whole conversation, after which he said, you were talking exactly like her. So I had gotten into her rhythms. It wasn't intentional. It was just...
Oh, you mean like when you were talking to her, you were
Yeah.
using the same voice that she uses?
Yeah,
Got
the
it.
one that I had done an impression of.
Right.
Not to make fun of her, but just to say this is her speech pattern, and it's so cute. And then when I was deep in my conversation with her, he reported to me that I was speaking in the same speech pattern.
My mom does that with accents when she talks to people.
And,
with
and accents are the same.
Yeah, my mom does that too.
Accents are the same. So if someone has a southern accent, or if someone like Leon and Cynthia, or from Oklahoma or whatever,
An Oklahonian accent.
or when we were in Australia,
It's just the sound of silence.
we'd actually spend like the sound of that. We'd spend the summer in Canada, going to camp in Canada, and we'd come back and go, yeah.
Hey,
and
don't
my
you
mom
know?
would be like, who are you people? But Maddie had something to say. Go ahead.
We don't you know?
Yeah, I was going to say that, your personality is shaped by your life experience. So when you meet a new person, like your interaction with them and how you are with them is a part of yourself. Don't think of it as like a whole different you.
Right.
It's not like you are this person when you're with your friend Keo and you're a different person when you're with your friend Ryan. It's those are different parts of yourself.
We're friends?
We're totally friends.
Oh my god, you
Yes.
guys.
Yeah, I just accepted your friend request.
I'm Mad
so-
Jelly.
You're what?
I'm Mad Jelly.
No.
Keo?
I imagine like jelly with a frowny face for a second. I was like, what?
And also, like, your personality isn't a solid thing. So it's like, you can't this is kind of what you just said, but it's not a clear thing. And if you ask somebody to say, who are you, that's not something you can just explain. So it's something that's always kind of changing.
You want to be mysterious too. It's really good.
Yeah.
Oh,
And if you notice, Mrs. Colfer, I'm different in the app when I'm typing. I'm way sillier during the show because during the show there's less risk that I'm going to hurt someone's feelings by being silly because they can hear my tone of voice. And in the app, it's like people are writing me with serious things, and I don't want to. Sometimes I'm a little bit silly if I'm pretty sure that everyone will understand that I'm just being goofy. But you know, so even that difference of when you're typing being slightly different than the way you are when you're speaking is something all humans do, I think. Ryan?
This is going to go on a T-shirt, although it might be too long to go on a T-shirt because it's a whole analogy, but it's brilliant.
Okay.
I mean, this is some
We'll just-
grade A stuff.
We'll type small.
And it'll come with a magnifying glass.
All right.
But you got to imagine yourself as a birthday gift, and depending on who you're giving it to, you got to wrap it differently. But the content of the gift is still the same thing.
Wow. That's really
So, like,
deep,
if I'm
Ryan.
giving Jake like a birthday gift, let's say it's a Bop It because I love Bop It, which is an awful birthday gift, but I can wrap it in computer wrapping paper because Jake will like that, but he's also still getting a Bop It. And then if I'm giving it to Keo, I'll wrap it in like Keo face wrapping paper, like I have Keo's face on it, and he'll like that. I just don't know what you would like on wrapping paper, but so I give it to Keo, and then he'd still also get a Bop It, but like how it's presented to him is kind of different. So,
Well, another analogy would be maybe you give the Bop It to like an 8-year-old and you give Keo a book.
I just want to say I prefer all my wrapping paper to have my face on it.
we can make that happen.
I will second that.
Because you can even tailor, like even the gift itself could be different. But I like what Keo used when he used the term core values. I kind of like that phrase because don't let anyone like shake you off your actual game of like who you are as a human being on Earth. But you can definitely amend your personality to suit the friends you're with or the situation. Because even like you could be with like I could be with Benji and we could be like laughing our heads off, and then we'd walk into church or something and we would be different people than we were, you know, in the parking lot, or we could, you know, I could be with you and we could be like talking about sports because you know how much I love to talk about sports.
Wait, why would you and Benji go to church?
Well, because
You're both Jewish.
our friends are getting married at a church, and
Okay.
more people understand church than if I had said synagogue, because then they might go, "What did she just mean? What was that word with 3 or 4 syllables?" But Benji and I probably would go to synagogue because we're both Jewish. But go ahead, Ryan.
No, so I was just going to say, like, your idea of the book and the Bop It, that sparked this idea for me. Let's refine this even more.
Okay.
Your core value is reading, but you can get people different books. That's the thing. They're still reading.
Could you
What
get
they're
me a
reading is
book
different.
about Bop It?
I can get you a book that's covers Keo's face, and inside there's a mini Bop It.
Yes.
And it's because you would be like kind of tailoring your personality to suit whatever the situation calls for, and that's not being phony.
Which
that's
also-
that's not knowing you.
Right, which also includes me not
It's-
getting you a gift, because that's what I do. I just tell people I'm going to get them this cool
No,
gift.
you can
and then
write
I
on my
never do.
Facebook wall, and we're done. No, but so Mrs. Jordan, wouldn't you agree that you can be? There are different parts of every person, like, and you haven't discovered them all when you're still 12 or 14 or 16. You're still like, if one day you're saying, I don't even know who I am, it's even okay to say that. Like, that's an okay thing to say to yourself. But also know that you're not supposed to yet. That's why you're still in school. That's why you're going to college. That's why you may go to graduate school. That's why you may not figure out who you are until you're 30.
Or Maddie. Going to
Keo?
college.
Keo first, and then girls first.
She's been waiting for
Oh, has she been?
Oh no,
I don't know. She hasn't been here, so she's been waiting. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, like, as far as like self-identification goes, and that goes with like a whole bunch, like the sexuality thing is also a really big part of like knowing who you are.
Yeah.
And when I was at camp, there was like a group that was for like people who identify as like things that are not straight, and then also allies. And they had a big discussion, and someone identified themselves as autosexual, and I didn't know what that was, so I looked it up, and it's actually very interesting. It's somebody who is only romantically interested in themselves, and only themselves. And I was like, that's
really,
all right.
really,
I finally understand.
No. That's just a fancy word for narcissist.
Yeah.
yeah. And then and then I saw the person the next day, and I was like, okay. Like I had a new piece
love
of
you as
information.
much as you
I
love
didn't
you.
know how to.
So many questions.
So just as a fun fact,
Like, does that mean they're like actually in love with themselves,
Yes.
like romantically, and they buy themselves like flowers, or is
Yes.
it like I just like staring at myself?
both.
No, that's just from an episode of Glee where Sue married herself.
But that's different.
She is probably
I love Sue.
autosexual.
But you know, who could blame her? She's adorable.
This stuff bothers me.
All right, Mrs. Call, for any closing words so we can leave the line open. I had a goal of 7 phone calls tonight. If you could call back 6 more times, or
Call
we could,
once from Oklahoma.
we could have
Or get someone from Oklahoma.
1 phone call from Leon, 1 phone call from Cynthia, and we're up to 3. But thank you so much for calling in, Mrs. Culfer, and happy birthday. We'll see you next week from where points unknown, right?
Montana, did you have something to say?
I also
Montana
okay.
is a
So
state
there
with
was that whole like thing that you did. Did they have one for like somebody who's in love with a car? Because that was a thing on My Strange Addiction, and
It's
he had to explain it to
automobile
his dad. It was really, really awkward because like
They did not. That
talk.
was
Let
missing.
new girl
Oh,
talk.
All right, so I'm Lauren. You guys kind of know, and
hi Lauren.
I identify as asexual, which a lot of people think I make that up, or I have a sexual attraction to the letter A, or
It is pretty sexy.
yeah, you know, and a lot of yes, you know those curves. Yes, you
And a
know,
thigh
and
gap.
a lot of people
It's got
also
a
think it
thigh
means
gap.
that I'm like a potato. I actually I don't really. I just split off into different Laurens. Yeah, it's just a lot of weird stuff, but it actually means that I'm actually not sexually attracted to people or anything.
Sorry, Ryan.
I didn't. Okay.
I
didn't even
actually
know that
more.
that's where you were going with that.
I don't know why not.
I don't experience sexual attraction, and that's been a big little thing for me. Like I've always been I actually tried to hide it for the longest time, since I was around a lot of people who, in middle school, were always talking about some actors that they thought were really sexy, and I never actually felt like that. But I admit to sort of lying and saying, yeah, they're very attractive, and
Okay, so I have a question for you. Have you ever had a crush on anyone?
yes, I have. I've had several crushes, but they were mostly platonic, which means like, I'm attracted to their personality or who, or I just want them to be my friend.
So you wouldn't like lie in bed and go and dream of kissing them, or kiss your hand and pretend you're kissing them, or anything like that?
Pretty much.
People still
Okay.
do that?
Oh, yeah.
Or is
Yeah.
that like something that
I do
only
it.
happens in like 80s movies?
I'm gonna do it later tonight.
Like other people don't, or
Well, Nico is. I mean.
well, I mean, I'm an autosexual, so I can kind of understand doing it.
Okay. But on the topic of like sexuality and how many different sexualities they are, I feel like if I was just in like an LGBTQA for ally group, and I was just like, yeah, I'm into bestiality, like no one would have a problem with it. Like I don't get it. There's like, like I get that. Like
No.
That would be LGBTQAB.
The point is, like, I feel like people- but, like,
You know who would have a problem with it is the beasts.
But
They
I
would be
get-
like, hey, Mister, back off.
But like someone who's like,
And
I'm just
A-
attracted to myself. Like how is that? Like
I don't think it's a thing. I think what Lauren is talking about is a real thing.
Yeah.
I know. I
Yes.
believe that Lawrence is. I'm not. I'm talking about the person who's
Yeah.
like, I'm autosexual. I'm like,
And
that just seems just as like.
making fun of me, Ryan.
And actually, the A in LGBTQIA or quilt bag or whatever actually stands for asexual, not
Wait,
ally.
quilt bag?
Quilt bag, yeah, quilt bag. It's another way to put it. It's a really fun little thing because you get all of them in it.
Wait, what
I
does it
like
stand
that
for?
a lot better.
It stands
I
for
like-
queer/questioning, undetermined, intersex, L, lesbian,
Wait, what's
T,
intersex?
transgender, transsexual, B for bisexual, A for ally, G for gay.
So we could change the labeling in the app because I like that because it also has the word quilt in it, which means like a tapestry of everybody.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jakey.
And bag. It's all together.
Yeah.
Jump in here for a second. LGBT, if you add enough things, spells leg butt, and I like that a lot more.
Okay.
Sexuality, so we get to leg butt.
I'm attracted to people who have their butt on their leg.
I'm attracted to butts. I have a very specific sexuality.
Give us a call at 888-531-7171. We are Our Place Out Loud.
Wait, Lauren, what was intersex? I know the other ones. What was that one?
Basically means that you have genitalia for both genders.
Okay.
Some people are born that way, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that was what it was called.
That's
No,
actually
that means
very. Yeah, it's very derogatory.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I thought
that's
that was
not
just
a-
a medical thing.
Oh, yeah. I think it's the medical term, but it's not really very nice to say.
Oh.
Kind of like transvestite or something like
No,
that.
transvestite's okay. I thought.
So what words are bad? What words should we not say?
I'm gonna say a really bad slur that you should really stay away from.
Okay.
Franny. That's the worst.
Oh, they don't. That's not like a
Really?
name that they find affectionate.
No, but sometimes they do.
Well, not usually.
Not like if you're being
I've
mean
been called
about
it
it.
once, and
This is my dilemma. I never know what to say because
it's very hard.
because some people take offense to some things and others don't, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to say?
That's a
You
big
say,
thing.
This is what
Big
Trish
thing.
says. You go, hey, you.
Or you
Well, but
can
no,
use
but-
you.
No, well, I don't. Obviously, I'm not going to walk up to someone and be like, "Hey, the gay guy, like, let's have a conversation." Like, I don't have to address
Yeah.
people like that.
Right.
But like when someone's like, "Oh, like, aren't they gay?" and I'll be like, "Oh no, they're this or that." Like, what am I supposed to say? Because I feel
You
like
say, ask the person.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
gonna like
it's
go
the-
find them and
that's
ask them.
what-
Cause
No,
I feel
just
like,
tell
just
them to
tell them
ask
to
the
ask
person.
oh, tell them
And
to
if
ask
you're
the person.
ever
Got it.
confused as to what pronouns you should use for a person,
Wait, what pronouns?
yeah, like
Okay.
her, he, him, she, her, they, their, and
Right.
Right.
always ask them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always.
why would we use they?
Because some people are gender neutral and they don't like using she
Or he.
Well, why does it have to be a plural? Couldn't we come up with something that's a singular?
Well,
could.
because
We
it doesn't
could.
work grammatically because
Oh,
there's no
Jake.
singular they in the English language.
I met someone at camp who goes by Zim. I think that's how you
Yeah, that's how you
conjugate
say
it.
it. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
there's also spelling it with a
Z,
Z, spelling with an X.
X.
There's a lots of different ways. It's just
Invader Zim.
No, that's their.
no, their gender I don't remember what
It's their,
they were. They were
preferred
something
pronoun.
they were something non-binary, and Zim, Zir, I think was how you
Zer
said
or
it. There's lots of them,
Zem.
but like none of them are like actually adopted by the English language yet, because we
Yeah.
don't have a plural you or a singular gender neutral, which is kind of weird.
I would be really grateful if they would become adopted because sometimes when I'm writing to kids and I want to give an example of what you would say to a person, I don't like to say they if I'm speaking about a singular person. So I always say, like, ask your teacher. This is a good example because the teacher could be a man or a woman. Ask your teacher what he or she thinks you should do. And then every single time I have to say he or she, and I don't want to say they because I just said teacher was just singular. So in other words, if that term came into be a popular term or an accepted term in the dictionary, to have a singular version of not being a man or a woman, I would be very grateful.
And it also kind of makes you sound French.
I wonder if other languages. Someone researched this. Do other languages have a non-gender singular?
Chinese does, but
Really?
only if you're speaking it, because like when you're writing it, it's like gendered singular, but like it's weird. Like if there's a group of girls, but there's one guy, it's automatically a group of guys because sexism.
Or, you
but
know.
like in speaking, it's just the same thing.
Oh, I see.
So,
But what about singular?
they don't have like Well, okay, so singular is the same thing, and then if you wanted to pluralize it, you just add like group.
Because French even make tables and chairs, men or women.
I
Yeah, it's
hate
crazy.
the French. They like have a different word for everything.
Everything's got to have a gender. We're
Steve
going to move
Martin,
on because
if
we have
anyone
only
gets
gotten
that.
to one question because we're being so. Okay, Jakey.
Finnish just doesn't have genders in their grammar at all.
So how would they? If I said
I have no
like
idea.
Keo because
I just
he's
read this.
handsome.
I just read this on Wikipedia. I have no idea.
Okay, I'd
But
have
yeah.
to say Keo's name every time. Yep. All right. So, Nico, please read Brittany Michelle's question.
Alrighty. Wheezy, please help. My mom is the type to always find the negative in the positive. I'm 18 and trying to find a decent place for my boyfriend and I. We're doing all things through God and the way he'd like us to. Problem is, when I tell my mom the little things like planning out to buy silverware, she is so negative about it and puts it down all the time. She tells my boyfriend that she thinks I don't have the mentality to finish a 2-year business degree, and her words really hurt. But when I try telling her that I'm doing these things the best way I know of and that her words hurt, she gets mad and yells. No, they don't hurt you. I'm speaking the truth. Don't act like you're doing me a favor. And I end up crying all the time. I need advice. I don't know what else to do. Everyone else supports our decisions but her.
So, I mean, it's really hard to not get a parent's approval because that means more to you than anyone else's usually. But sometimes you just have to accept, like, my mom is challenging. Nothing's ever going to please her, and so I need to just please myself and make good decisions, make good life decisions. And at the age of 18, you're finally, like, pretty much at the finish line where if you do move in with your boyfriend, your mother's opinion will be like, you can hold the phone away from your ear, kind of thing. Go ahead, Montana.
Yeah, it's hard because most of the time, like, people's parents' opinion do mean, like, a lot to them, especially if she's just starting out in life and she needs, like, the support. I think maybe if she, if there's any way she can try to understand her mom better and understand that this is her mom's baggage and it has not a lot to do with her, and that, well, I mean, it does have something to do with her, but it's more from her mom's experience because most of the time, parents just want their kids to ultimately, like, be safe, be happy, and, like, grow up normal. And maybe her mom doesn't see this as doing so, but ultimately, if she's happy, then very deep down, her mom
very
will be
deep down. Because if her mom
very,
is saying,
very deep.
If her mom is saying things like, "No, they don't hurt you," it's her mom's. It's not her mom's place to judge whether or not she's having a certain feeling.
Well, from that we can take that her mom's being completely irrational. So there's a reason for that, and it's not this girl because she's not doing something crazy.
But you do feel like it's yourself. If your mom isn't happy with you, you do feel like
there's something wrong with you.
Yes, but it could be just that your mom sees you as a reflection of how the world's going to judge her as a mother. Oh, her daughter bought the wrong china, and really the world doesn't care.
Yeah,
honestly, because you guys are eating on it, and who cares other than you? And you can just go to Target and pick up silverware, and it doesn't really. It's not. It's like these are like non-issues, what I call non-issues, and they're your decision to make if you can afford them, Maddie.
Well, she didn't specifically mention that this was, like, pertaining to this move-out thing, because that's what it kind of, like, just from reading the information that we have, that's what it kind of seems like to me, is that this kind of new moving out thing is kind of stressing the mom out, because a lot of moms,
I see.
like, because of, like, the maternal instincts, like, they don't like their kids leaving, and not to say the dads don't, just, like, because this is talking about
moms
mom.
and daughters. I get it.
Yeah, and so she doesn't want her to move out, and so she doesn't know how to, like, say that. So she's, like, getting all upset.
That's good
when she talks about moving, because, like, about the silverware, it's the wrong silverware. Like, because she doesn't want her to be buying silverware because she doesn't want her to be moving out.
That's deep.
So that could be causing the stress there. Ryan,
very good insight.
What do you think?
I was just going to say, if your mom has a past of being kind of irrational with you, then there's maybe not so much you can do. But I was also just going to add, those move out might be a stress, and agree with Maddie on that one. So if you can look at it from that perspective, that's awesome. Just try to let her just do her thing and don't fight back against it, because obviously telling her that she's hurting your feelings isn't going to make her feel better. And if she's not going to stop anyways, it might be best just to let that go and let her be just her out of sync self. Quick side note, when you said that, not that fathers don't, that reminded me of this awful statistic they shared today in our college essay boot camp. It's not awful, it's just kind of sad, which is that when they have the question, who's the most influential person in your life, the most common answer is my mom, and people write their essays on their mom, and then, like, the 10th most common answer is my dad.
Wow.
Which is just, like, really sad.
Oh, Keo, that is sad.
Yeah, that is sad. It's tough to not care what someone thinks, especially when they're your parent. And it's easy to say, just care less, but it's all the history that you have with that person, and that person raised you. You're going to care what they think about the things that you're doing. And like Montana was saying, if you understand, and Maddie, if you understand her thought process a little bit more, then it's a little easier to kind of not take it personally.
Benji?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, though, you gotta just it is, you gotta care what your parents think about you, obviously. But the advice I would give on this one is just to, like, live to your own judgment of yourself. And, like, even though you want your mother to like you, obviously, and to like what your decisions, you got to not let her opinion of you like affect your opinion of yourself. Like if you can maintain your self, your self-confidence and believing in yourself, like it can still bother you. That's human, but not to let it change how you view yourself and how you view your own decisions. Like, you can trust in your decisions.
Montana?
And also about this time when you're moving out is when you kind of start to see your parents more as like real people instead of just like your parents who like raised you. And it's kind of easier to understand where she's coming from if you look at her like a real person with like real flaws and things that she really has to deal with, and don't take it like as your mom she doesn't like you and doesn't approve of you, but she's just having a really hard time dealing with this concept.
Her agenda is completely different, so her view of what's happening is completely different. It's like you're standing in two different areas and you see like a different view of the same incident, and it's not meshing at all. But it's the same incident, so you're both talking about it, thinking that you're looking at it the same, but you're looking at it completely differently. Kyo?
Something I would do, well, for two instances, something like you got the wrong China or whatever, that type of thing, I would just respond with, well, I disagree. I think that was a good choice, if that's what you think. And then, or you could say, well, then with something more like kind of important, like you don't have the right mindset, I would try and open a discussion with her and say, well, what do you mean? What do you want me to do? What does that exactly mean? And try and stay calm and keep to the facts of everything that she's saying, but not. Maddie, did you have something to say?
Yeah, actually, I'm really glad you said that because I wanted to add on. So if you are going to talk to her, make sure that you talk to her when you guys are not in the middle of a conflict moment. Like if you're like really, frustrated with her and she's upset and angry, and then trying to talk about it then is not a good plan. But like if you realize like, something needs to be, like we need to talk about it. Like even if you think, oh, I need to talk about it right now, or I've got something really good to say about it right now, wait until there has been like nothing, like even in that like past day that has caused conflict.
Yeah.
Like pick a time where, stuff is going well and you can all talk about it calmly and quietly. And actually, something you just said reminded me that like what's actually happening with me and my mom is kind of a similar situation, because she was not expecting me to be leaving to like live away from home.
Oh, we haven't given your big announcement yet.
Oh, right. Okay,
so let's do that now.
Oh, okay.
Because I know that Lauren wants to read the question from Coconut, and then we'll have Thread Theater. So Maddie has a big announcement.
So I'm going to college this fall, actually, next Thursday.
Even though you're a mere child.
Even though I'm a mere child.
And you should be staying home for 3 more years where you belong.
She beat me.
Exactly. I did, by a year. So basically, it is, to answer all the FAQs, yes, it is a normal college. No, it is not a boarding school. It is a separate campus from people who are going to college after 12th grade to the same school. It's called Bard. It is in the East Coast. It's on the East Coast in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. It is 2 hours away from New York. Did I cover it pretty much?
Pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm going to study psychology, and I have not picked a major.
And you will be calling in. Right?
And I will be calling in.
All right, Lauren, would you please read Coconut's question? Congratulations, Maddie, on going to college.
Yay! Wait, how many kids are in like the your age program?
Well, my age, I'm 1 year younger than they normally are. They usually take kids after 10th grade. I'm going after 9th grade. So I'll be...
How many 10th grade kids are there generally?
How many 10th grade? That's a really good question. The entire campus is about 500. So it's probably around 100, 125.
The entire campus, including the after 12th graders, is 500, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the college is called Bard.
Right.
The kids who like go through normal high school and go to college after like they finished high school, that's a separate campus.
Wait, so who are the other 400 people on the campus?
The people who went there after 10th and are now like doing their freshman year of college when they would be doing their 11th grade year.
Right. So that's my question. Like, how many people are in the below college program? Do you see what I'm saying?
We'll call it pre-graduate.
Pre-graduate. How many people are in the pre-graduate program?
About 500.
About 500, okay.
That's what that campus is.
Got it.
Oh, and by the way, what I was saying about, like, the mom thing is that my mom thought I was going to be staying there for, like, another 3 years. Like, she wasn't expecting me to live away from home for another 3 years. So she's been a little bit, like, because we had to go college shopping, you know, for like all the stuff that you have to get to live away from home. And, you know, that was a little bit hard for her because she's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. And she was a little like quiet. And so it's definitely interesting. And I think I'm really happy Benji's still at home because otherwise that would have been a lot more dramatic.
And another dynamic that sometimes takes place right before somebody leaves is that they start arguing because somehow subconsciously, if you're mad at the person, it's easier to let them go or be the person who's going. So don't be surprised if like little arguments creep in and nobody means anything, and always apologize and say I love you because it's really over nothing. This is over silverware, and it's just that it may be easier for your mom for you to leave the house. It's like, well, I'm so glad she's gone, and it's like you're really not, but in that moment maybe it doesn't sting as much. Keo?
Also, they're probably upset that you're leaving, so things come off a little harsher maybe.
Yeah. All right, let's jump ahead because we have Thread Theater to get to, and we're running out of time. So, Lauren, go ahead and read Coconut's question.
All right. So Coconut says, so I'm going to be a sophomore, and my school starts Monday. I don't have any classes with my friends, and I don't know who I have lunch with, and I'm just freaking out about that. The only good thing is that I know where everything is and where to go. I'm starting to get really bad anxiety just thinking about it. I start freaking out and may have a full-blown panic attack, and I can't control those. Please help. I need to think positive thoughts, but I'm terrified.
So you wanted to address this question, Lauren.
Yeah, I have a lot of experience with anxiety, as a lot of the people who know me from school know that I still do have anxiety problems, but it was much worse in my freshman and sophomore and years. My junior year sort of calmed down a little bit, but still there. And what I really can't stress enough is that never jump to conclusions about anything. Who knows, maybe one of your friends is going to be in your classes, and just trying to stay present is really what really helps me. I know it seems a little bit cliched or odd, but if you go far ahead, that is called, as my therapist calls it, it's script writing. And you really only want to do that when you're writing a script, an actual script. But definitely try to keep. Just really do think positive thoughts about this. And if you do start feeling like a panic attack is coming on, don't be afraid to ask your teacher if you can go to get some water, or go to the bathroom or something, and just try to calm yourself down. And maybe talk to your school's counselor if your school has a counselor or something. And
so is a panic attack basically you're extrapolating like this is what I'm afraid will happen, and that's the root of all panic attacks. So if you stay in the moment, say at this moment I'm fine. Is that helpful?
It definitely is helpful. It definitely has prevented me from having a few panic attacks before. I mean, I still do have some panic attacks, but they're less frequent now.
Mm-hmm.
But aren't some panic attacks categorized by like your throat starts closing and you feel like you can't breathe, and there's
really
like
scary when that happens.
Fever and all that
lovely
medical thing.
It's hard. Yeah.
Right.
Being another person who's had experience with anxiety and panic attacks, I think that the most important thing for me was, as it wasn't easy to learn to just be like, I'm fine now, so what's the bad news? Because I still, like Lauren was saying, what she was calling script writing, you still keep doing that. So it's like, my dad would be like, I used to get really nervous every time a school break would end, then I would go back to school. The night before, I'd freak out, I'd get sick, my stomach would hurt, I couldn't really do anything or function, and he would basically just tell me, like, what's wrong? I mean, like, you're fine. And I'm like, I know, but it's about tomorrow. And so if I started realizing that if I can't get myself to live in the moment, start getting myself to ask what could happen tomorrow. Because my fear is like, I'm going to go back to school and be scared. Well, why am I going to be scared? Because I might not see my friends. So I go a day without seeing my friends. And I don't know who I'll have lunch with. So I'll find out who I have lunch with, you know? And so if you just look at it like, here's what I'm afraid of, but here's how simple the solution is, that tends to help me too. Nico?
I'm feeling your guys' pain right now. I mean, I think everyone's kind of had their own little panic attacks or anything.
Yeah.
And I had those quite a lot when I was going into last year, I think. I had a lot of classes where I didn't know anyone, and I felt panic attacks coming on in a lot of those classes, let me tell you. And what I kind of did, I just started like gritting my teeth, and I started just talking to the person next to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of going to the bathroom or anything, I just kind of just went up to the person next to me, and it's like, yo, this class is pretty dumb. Am I right?
Up top.
Yeah. Or really, that's the way you got to approach not having any friends in the classroom, making new friends, I think.
Ryan?
Oh, and also on the topic of like being worried about friends, because you said you're worried about not having any friends in the class, and that might mean that you're worried about making friends or making enemies, for what that's worth. Like, I am just going to be straight up honest. I have plenty of enemies at my school because people do not like that I am forward and blunt about what I think.
You have plenty of enemies here, Ryan.
My what? Right, I didn't hear what you said.
You have plenty of enemies here.
No, but so it's also good for me to like acknowledge that, and I'm like, they don't like me. I'm not going to be like oh my god, they don't like me. They don't like me, and rightfully so. Like, I did something that bothered them. I'm not going to change who I am, but if they don't like the way I act, like, that's also just who I am and who they are. So
right,
that's another point.
We're going to continue that conversation maybe next week, because it's been really good, and I know a lot of people want to talk. But I did tease in the pre-show announcements that we were going to talk about the last Thread Theater. So let's do that, because I do think it's important, and I would love to hear your guys' opinions on it. And I don't know if you clicked on the Dr. Oz link, but I thought that was interesting. And it's Thread Theater, is weed addictive? Did you guys pick roles, or should we just go around
I'll
the
be
room?
a curious teenage girl.
All right, go ahead, Nico.
2 days ago, I smoked weed for like the first time, and I throw up later that night. I'm not sure if it was because of what I ate or me smoking. Ever since that, I felt sick. I've worried and confused about what happened.
The Truth 100. Oh, Maddie?
It's very common for people to get sick when smoking for the first time. I personally would not recommend doing it again. It could lead to heavy addiction later on.
Seriously?
Brittany, Michelle?
You can't get addicted to weed. It's literally completely impossible. Can you get addicted to the feeling of the high? Yes, but the actual drug itself cannot lead to addiction. I'm not up for arguments. I'm just stating a small fact.
Thank you.
All right, and then I put a link to Dr. Oz, which I can put in the app, because he seemed to have like a bunch of like those YouTube videos where one plays and then the next plays. Like he had, I don't know if you guys watched him. Huh? Huh?
Like a playlist.
Yeah, maybe that's what it's called. You teens. But yeah,
Hey,
he had a
teens are
playlist,
talking.
and it seemed the panel was arguing over it, so it seemed kind of inconclusive. Like that, maybe like 1 in 6 get addicted to pot. Maddie?
Well, I'm going to have to correct Brittany Michelle here, because I did check with people who actually know.
Okay.
You can get addicted to weed.
Wait, can you cite your sources? Like, who are these people that actually know?
Just put in MLA
A psychologist.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure that I buy that, but okay.
A psychologist with a license.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All the licenses.
Go do your
that
thing.
you-
I'll do my thing.
all the letters that come after the name. You can get addicted to weed. You can. It's not like just the high addiction. You can get physiologically addicted to weed. It is a thing that can and will happen if you smoke a lot of weed and you cannot give it up. And the only difference is that people kind of differentiate between like weed and think it's like a softer drug than like cocaine and heroin, which it is a little bit. But there is. You don't have as many dramatic physical withdrawal symptoms when you are giving up weed versus giving up something like heroin or cocaine.
Mhm.
There aren't like you don't get like the fever and the headaches and like the crazy dizziness and all that stuff that happens when you suffer withdrawal from other drugs that are not weed.
All right, Jake.
That's the difference.
People don't realize this, but you can get addicted to literally anything. Reading, playing video games, the drink you have every morning, how you open a door. The reason you're good at opening doors is because you got really used to one way of opening doors, and that's how you do it now.
I'm so addicted to it.
That's how, exactly. That's how our brain kind of functions, is that if something is good, or at least it thinks it is, right? Most chemicals that are used as drugs make you feel better, right? You just simply cement that kind of neurological pathway, and it keeps going. And so there's a difference, of course, between reading and
heroin.
And yeah, exactly. There's a chemical addiction, but that's
I do
much
them both
different.
every morning, but
There's a chemical addiction that's very different, and giving them up is different. Like giving up caffeine, you may have a headache. Giving up heroin, you'll throw up everywhere and get shakes and all that crazy stuff. And each one has its own side effects, but there are multiple different types of addiction, and so it's weird to talk about can you get addicted because you can get addicted to anything.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting way of looking at it. And I think a lot of what comes up when you talk about weed is that people will say, well, alcohol is legal and weed isn't, but weed is actually not as bad. And if you're an alcoholic and you stop drinking, you'll get like what they call the dry drunk or something. There's a word for it. Like you'll act drunk because your body's so used to alcohol that it'll actually seem inebriated when you stop. If you stop giving your body alcohol, and we all know that alcohol can be like really corrosive and destroy families and everything. And then you'll see people saying, that will say, you never saw anybody like, get stoned and beat the crap out of his kids. But I would just like to add, I've never smoked pot, so I don't know, and I'm not really a good person to talk about the curative properties of pot because I'm sure it has those. But I would just prefer if young people did not do any drinking or smoking of pot until your brain is fully developed. Go ahead, Ryan. 25.
Bunch of stuff to say.
Yeah.
So first, with Matt, well, I'll start with Jake's because that one's like faster. So with Jake's, like, as I agree with you that you can get addicted to anything, but I would also agree that the way you open a door is not an addiction. That's a
learned behavior.
That's a behavior because there's no withdrawing from opening doors. It might be not easy to do, but that's not an addiction.
No, it's like you. The withdrawal is that you're stuck in a room.
No, but but an addiction implies that it's something you feel the need to do, not just that you're good at doing constantly. And so if I don't feel the need, so he's giving me the thumbs up. So, but I agree with you that you can get addicted to anything. On Maddie's note, having talked to my doctors about this, they've just explained to me that they don't really know. We haven't done enough testing. It's not really legal in many places in the U.S., and even where it is, it hasn't been legal very long, so testing is really inconclusive.
That's an interesting
point. My
point,
understanding on a scientific basis is that if you were just smoking, like, just weed, you would be pretty much just inhaling smoke and THC, and that wouldn't cause a physical addiction. In that sense, you could only get addicted to the high. That's my understanding of it. But because almost nothing is just straight whatever, like water is not even just straight water, right? Water's not just like H2O. So that's, I think, where things get differentiated. On Wheezy's note, I would agree. Like, don't smoke before your brain is fully developed. It's just not a good idea. There's nothing really productive that comes out of it long term. Yeah.
Montana?
Okay. I kind of agree with Maddie, but not completely. I mean, I kind of agree with everybody in the room, but I have sort of my own take on this because I've had a lot of friends who've been quote unquote addicted, but it's not really an addiction. It's more of a dependence, more of a mental dependence.
Okay.
So, like, I know a lot of people some people would say, oh, that's a weird addiction, but it was easy for them to give it up, but it was hard for them to make the decision to give it up because what happens is, for some people, they do it and then they like it and then they don't really have anything else to do in their lives, so they just do it more and it kind of just cuts off their forward motion. It's not an addiction like cocaine or heroin where, like, you could die, but it's more of you just kind of stop and you get stuck in a rut and you can restart your life. It's not that crazy heavy, but it's not a thing you want to do every day because it impacts your growth as a human.
To measure progress, and you want to be making forward momentum every day when you're changing so much that we talked earlier in the show about, like, figuring out your personality. Your personality shouldn't be this stoned kid.
Yeah.
You should be working hard at being uncomfortable because then you'll get comfortable. If you try to just inebriate your uncomfortableness, you never figure out how to be comfortable sober. Jakey?
Oh, wait.
This is a quote, I think it was from South Park, where all pot really does is make you okay with being bored, but being bored is what drives you to do interesting things, and we don't want you to be a boring person.
Wow,
like
that is really good. I like that. Nico, let's do Nico and then Lauren.
All right, so I don't really agree with the idea that you can get addicted to anything. I think there's a difference between a compulsion to do something and an addiction. Like, it's the difference between getting addicted to reading or getting addicted to heroin. Heroin has a direct link to your brain. It causes psychological stuff.
Okay, well, at the same time, reading can release hormones that make you feel more happy, and you can, in that sense, get addicted to it. But I guess that's the same as saying that the THC makes you feel happy. So in that sense, it's the same.
No, it can affect you in your brain and stuff. But the difference between heroin and that is it has a direct line to your brain. It directly affects it.
Right, but when Jakey was saying that video games are addictive, we know they're addictive because they release some sort of chemicals that are pleasant in your brain and make you feel comfortable, and being removed from the video game can make you feel agitated if you're used to the comfortable feeling of Jake.
It's called being
heroin does have a straight shot to your brain. So does being alive and doing stuff. That's how your brain works.
So I'm addicted to being alive?
Well, pretty much, yeah. That's a good thing.
if you stop,
keep
you
being
wouldn't
alive.
like that.
Yeah, your brain tries to keep you alive. So, but doing stuff, living life, also releases hormones. Like drugs, just kind of shortcut that, which is pretty bad for you.
Well, I
I'm
guess
saying
that
there's a difference between the wording of something that has a direct line to your brain and something that can actually like.
That's a pretty good point.
But I think it's also the distinction in not why the hormone. It's not so much why the hormone was released, but how were they released? Are they released by something outside triggering your body to release stuff that's already in it, or are you actually putting something else in your body?
Smart
and I guess
girl.
that's kind of what you're getting
Smart
at,
girl
right?
talk.
All right, so when you do, I believe when you do all sorts of drugs, whatever drug it is, heroin, crack cocaine, marijuana, I believe that it actually does, it is addictive because it releases a lot of dopamine. That's the name of the chemical. Science! Science is... Yes, science! But when the dopamine gets released, it's a lot of dopamine, and when you continue to do drugs, or whatever drug it is, even marijuana, I believe that it less and less dopamine can get produced. And when you stop doing it, you don't get that same dopamine feeling. You really want that dopamine, and so you continue to use it. Therefore, I believe that it is actually addictive. But there actually have been some good things about marijuana. There's medical marijuana, which I wonder if have any of you guys followed the story of the girl named Charlotte who had really, really horrible epilepsy. I forget what the name of it was, but she was I forgot what state it was, but she...
Oklahoma?
No, it couldn't have been there.
Maybe, who knows?
It couldn't have happened there.
But
Unless it was a movie.
Basically, a guy bred like this special... I'm forgetting the special
Strain?
Strain of
marijuana that
actually wouldn't do like the
therapeutic,
high.
yeah.
Therapeutic.
Oh, I
and
see.
That's really common.
It was called the hippie's disappointment before it was renamed to Charlotte's Web.
Excellent.
Well, I think that's kind of the distinction Nico
Yeah.
was getting at, though, is the idea of, you also can have dopamine released by playing video games, and that's that's a compulsion, but not an addiction.
But
which I would agree with, I guess. I agree with that.
I think that I see gambling, people that need to go to the casino and play the slot machines, and video games as being the similar addiction, in that whatever's released in the brain that says, this is pleasant, I don't have to think about the rest of my life and how many bills I'm not paying while I'm sitting here playing video games in this casino, breathing all of this secondhand smoke. But it's releasing something in the brain that's pleasant and that makes you want to check out or feel like you've been able to check out from the things in your life that are upsetting to you. Jake?
Yeah, that's basically exactly what Lauren said. Dopamine is all you actually enjoy in life, and eating releases dopamine, which is pretty good. Being addicted to eating, at least healthily, is good. It keeps you alive.
No.
No, but eating...
healthily,
yeah,
but I guess that's not really an addiction.
I'm pretty sure... No, yeah, it is. Dopamine is released, your brain continues to...
I thought we classified that's not an addiction.
I didn't know that's what we did.
I have a science question. Is dopamine released when you look at a picture of someone else's food on Facebook?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
wow.
Everything you enjoy, you enjoy in life is dopamine being released. Or what's the other one, Lauren? You know science.
Serotonin.
Serotonin. Yes.
But that's calming.
The one
That's relaxing and
people with,
calming.
Depression lack.
Which is like there's this stuff they sell called Dream Water, and they used to have it at CVS. And I've never drank it, but my friends have, and apparently it's like that's melatonin. It's like way more melatonin than you should ever have, and you just like go to sleep and have the weirdest dreams.
Wow.
And it's like in a 5-hour energy shot thing, but it's like totally legal, which just freaks me out.
Montana? That is scary.
And, okay, on the flip side of this, I'm going to talk quick because we don't have that much time.
Yeah,
on the flip side, a lot of schools, especially when you're in middle school, they'll show you the bad 80s movies of, I smoked weed once, and then I was addicted, and then I ended up in the gutter. And never, ever, ever believe that, because middle school will tell you so many lies. Not saying that, like, education isn't valuable, but they told me that you could get herpes by, like, sitting where somebody who had herpes, like, sat, and that's not true. No. Like, if you just, like, touched a person with herpes, you just die and have herpes.
Maddie?
But, oh, wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're just running out. Did you miss making your point?
Yeah.
Okay, can you make your point, then throw to Maddie, and
Really
Maddie,
quick.
can you then throw
Okay.
to Lauren, and Lauren, can you close the show? Because
So
we really are running out
I
of
want to. There's a distinction between like marijuana and other harder drugs. Like with marijuana, you can develop a dependence, and it's not really a problem till it becomes a problem. In the sense that you get no forward motion, but don't think that because you try weed once and you're fine, that doesn't mean like you can try coke once and you'll be fine.
Right.
Maddie.
Oh, I just wanted to clarify, like, I was just saying that, yes, it is possible that you can get addicted to weed, not, like, that is my opinion. What I was going to say, like, is my opinion, is that exactly that, is that you can, you can come back from it. It doesn't have as much, like,
damage.
Like, it doesn't have as much damage, but it's also, like, with drugs, it's, like, the level of dependence. It's, like, can you live without it? Can you give it up? And that's what kind of, I feel like that's what also constitutes as an addiction
But
when
it
we're
may be
talking
more
about anything. You can get addicted to anything. It's like the level of dependence you
A
have
psychological
to that thing.
Well, I
crutch.
mean, it's fairly
more
low
than-
as far as they go then.
All right, Lauren.
Well, yeah, but it's like with drugs, it's higher than with opening doors. Like,
It's
it's
okay.
that type of distinction. Sorry, Lauren, go ahead.
It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. But you can have dependence on like a lot of things, as you were saying. I mean, if you watch like House MD, which I've been doing a lot of, but the main character, Dr. House, has a dependency. Like it's a
Vicodin.
a Vicodin. That's what it is, and he struggles to give it up. I believe. I don't know if he actually does. I haven't gotten past the third season, eighth episode.
No spoiler alerts.
No
Doesn't he also have a
spoilers,
dependency
please.
on a cane, though?
Oh, wait,
Isn't
yeah.
that like...
Wait, third season?
Yeah, third
Oh,
season.
No spoiler. We have to end the show.
No spoilers.
Oh, I just
but
watched season 1.
so one of the things that but then again, as Montana was saying with middle school and them always saying one thing, there's a lot of danger that comes with a single story. A lot of danger.
Very, very. Is that your final thought? Because it was
That
good.
is my final thought.
Let's close the show with that. It was really good. You guys were awesome today. See you next time on Our Place Out Loud.
I've been out there wandering. I've been in here wondering, hoping, reaching, wishing I could find my way. Then I found our place where we can dream and share it. Our place, you'll find a friend to carry. I may look a little hazy and I may feel a little crazy. I'm sifting through confusion and I'm searching for solutions, and I know I'm answer bound, 'cause I found our place where we can dream and share it. Our place, you'll find a friend to carry. Hear you, heal you, steer you back to kindness. Your soul may be in tatters. You'll learn what really matters. And
call it our song.